what should you be doing with your life? Really, it's an intersection of three roads. You know, in Queens, you have the 73rd Avenue, 73rd Street, the Boulevard, you get lost easy, right? There's three intersections. One is what you're good at. The other is what you like. And the third is what the world needs. Once those three roads meet, that's what you got to do. The key is to first identify in every child and every teenager a talent, something that they're good at, and just keep building it up and just keep promoting it, just giving them that compliment, that praise. When you do that, then they could start feeling like that's what their talent is, and they could do that with the world, and they could really expand it out there.
Beruchim Habayim and welcome to Torah Talks Chazaq's Tuesday night programs with special guests. We have with us all the way from Staten Island, Rabbi Mendel. Baruch haba, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a big pleasure, big honor. You read the names of people who've been on the show. I'm so flattered that you invited me. Thank you.
Chazir Hashem, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for all that you do for Klal Yisrael. We're going to be talking about believing in yourself and others. But before we do that, if you give a little background about yourself and the great work you're involved with.
Sure. So I was born in Ukraine. That used to be in the news until Israel. And I immigrated in 1992. I went to a Jewish school. My grandparents said, we really want to send you to public school, but it's very dangerous from what they heard from their friends. So they said, we'll send you to a Jewish school, yeshiva, Sheret Israel. It was on Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn. But they said to me, like, you know, in the morning, there's Judaic classes, just you could space out, you could sleep, you know, relax. And the afternoon is really when, you know, the real stuff happens. And of course, over the years, even as you're blocking out all the Judaic content, once I got to high school and I started like thinking a little bit about life and actually started paying attention by accident. I got inspired. I went to Sinai Academy, which was, you know, it's just a great school also in Brooklyn for Russian kids as well. And once I went to college and I kind of got out of the you have to not listen mode, I started to think to myself, wait, maybe they were onto something. So I started going to Shabbat tables from different Rabbeim that I had, my rabbis. And bit by bit, I started to get inspired. And then 9/11 happened, and I was like, okay, the world's ending, so I got to, you know, be meaningful over here with my life. So I started keeping Shabbat and kosher. And that's pretty much my background once I started becoming observant.
Wow. And today, Baruch Hashem, with learning and understanding, you're involved with so many amazing projects. If you could touch on
Yes, I went for a journalism degree in college, and I figured that it's something that's really good for me, like it's interesting. And when I got a little bit older, I started to think to myself, what am I going to do with this? So I started writing about celebrities. Before I was observant, I started writing about, you know, the shenanigans of the celebrities. And then I realized maybe I could use my writing ability to do something more inspiring, meaningful. So I started writing. I started a Jewish newspaper at Hunter College. For the Hillel over there, and basically, you know, that's how I started my career in writing and kind of like outreach and kiruv, bringing people closer to their roots, to their identity. That was the beginning of my writing career.
And today, Baruch Hashem, thank God, is a beautiful newsletter.
Yes.
And there's a sefer, which is the book that we have right over here as well. If you could tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So about 12, 13 years, actually 13 years ago.
Bar mitzvah.
Yes, bar mitzvah. 13 years ago, we there was two people in our community who got into a little bit of a dispute. And my mother-in-law, Oliva Shalom, she said, why don't you write a letter like Aaron the Cohen to kind of bring them together?
Oliva Shalom, bring peace.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. I said, great idea. So I sat down, I wrote a letter. I said how much the community needs the togetherness and the achdut. And I sent it to both of these parties who were very much involved in this community. And one of the parties wrote back to me, and the other party didn't write back at all. But the other party wrote back to me and he said, well, you're a good writer. Why don't you write on something on a parsha every week? And I was like, okay, that wasn't my point. You know, they never got together. But you know what, Hashem, when you do something good for the Jewish people, Hashem might not exactly apply it in that situation, but he might apply it somewhere else. So the guy believed in me. He said, why don't you write something? And so the next week I took a book, Talele Arot, I think it was. I copied and pasted, Plagiarism 101. Just, you know, wrote 7 sentences and wrote my line commentary, sent it to 7 people who I thought would like it. And that's how it got started. And today, 13 years later, I kept going. We have, thank God we have 7 writers.
Wow.
We have thousands of subscribers, and, people are inspired. There's humor, there's stories, there is musar, halacha, a little bit of everything. It's like a shmorg.
Nice.
It's like a buffet. It's a different flavor for whatever, speaks to you. And Torah, that's basically what we try to put out and try to get people inspired and, educated.
So from these newsletters, all these years, it evolved into a book?
Yes. So, a few years ago, basically, somebody came over to me again and said, why don't you put a book together? I also didn't believe in myself that I could put a book together. It was a dream, a pipe dream.
This is our topic, believing in yourself.
And then you have somebody else who comes over and says to you, you can do it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I can do it. You think I can do it? Let me try. So we put together something called Sweeter Than Honey, which is about 600 pages.
Wow.
And it has a lot of the best articles that we put out over the years. And also was able to sell, a few thousand copies going around different communities. And, again, believing, even being rejected, some people say, oh, we don't want it. But just if you have a message that you believe that you can bring to Hashem's children, you have to be able to deal with rejection, and you have to be able to know that you're going to have to, Hashem has your back. You just keep pushing and keep doing the right thing. And somehow, some way, Hashem is going to reward you and going to give you that opportunity to build Klal Yisrael and help his children.
100% true. It's so important. This message is very, very strong. And you see it yourself. Baruch Hashem, others believed in you. You believed in yourself. And you're trying to get others to believe as well. So let's discuss that for a moment. Talking about believing in yourself, how does it apply to children? As parents, or as, you're a Rabbi with an understand, a teacher as well. How do we give over, self-esteem, I guess they call it,
right.
Believing in themselves to do good things for Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people?
So today, that's an excellent question, first of all. It's a question everyone struggles with, especially growing up in today's generation where everybody's trying to get the kids' attention because, this is like, you get the kids when they're young, then, they become like basically promoting you, whatever your cause is. We see now with Hamas and all the colleges and all that stuff is happening. It's the indoctrination started many, many years ago, right? So everyone's trying to get to the children and trying to really get to their fragile mind. And the reason why they're so successful is because the self-esteem nowadays is so low. It's so like really down in the dumps. And what I do in Mazel Day School, where I'm the dean of students, is basically, I used to teach English, and then I started teaching public speaking. And people said, oh, wow, it's really cool, public speaking, persuasive speeches, debates, this and that. I'm like, it's really exciting. I said, it's not really about public speaking. Public speaking is just a vehicle of, really, it's called self-esteem class, confidence class. Because you're going to get up, like a famous comedian once said, that, there's the fear of public speaking is worse than the fear of death. Oh, so at a funeral, it's better
They'd rather be in the coffin,
in the box than the guy is giving the eulogy, right?
Yeah.
So it's such a fear because people have such low self-esteem, they're being judged. So what you're doing here is that you're giving the kids this opportunity to say, you know what, get up there, build yourself up, speak, present yourself. And those people who know how to speak well, present themselves, they have an unbelievable self-esteem. But you got to push them and you got to believe in them. You got to tell them you can do this. So that's really what I started, and I love doing this now. I do it with the 8th graders, with the 7th graders. And it's funny, they walk in the 5th grade, they're these shy little kids, and then they stand at the graduation and they're speaking to hundreds of people and they're laughing and they're confident. And that really is such an important skill that you can build within children, is that having that belief that, listen, you can do it, you have talents, you have abilities, go for it. Rabbi Beryl Groshenfeld, the Rosh Yeshiva of Machon Yaakov, the yeshiva that I went to, he said, what should you be doing with your life? What should you be doing? So he said, really, it's an intersection of 3 roads. In Queens, you have the 73rd Avenue, 73rd Street, the Boulevard, you get lost easy, right? But there's 3 intersections. There's 3 streets. One is what you're good at. The other is what you like. And the third is what the world needs. Wow. Once those 3 roads meet, that's what you got to do.
What you're good at, what you like, and what the world needs.
What the world needs.
Put it all together and run after it.
That's what you know. So you have a talent. God gave you a talent. He gave me a writing ability. I come up there after 120. Said, well, I wrote a lot of Lashon Hara, a lot of trash about celebrities. That's why God gave me the writing ability, right? And I'd be answerable for that. So, use that. If you're social, then, like you could just be there shooting the breeze, hanging out with friends, or you could go to the hospital and there are people, or a nursing home, and people who are lonely, and you could do chesed that way, and you could help people out.
Whatever skill a person has, they can use it for good things.
Right. So the key is to first identify in every child and every teenager a talent, something that they're good at, and just keep building it up and just keep promoting it, just giving them that compliment, that praise. When you do that, then they could start feeling like that's what their talent is, and they could do that with the world, and they could really expand it out there.
Beautiful, powerful, true. One concern that comes to mind is that if you build so much quote unquote self-esteem and believing in others and making them believe in themselves, we might fall into the issue, which is, they might become show-offs. In Judaism, we're not big fans of Gavtanim and Gava and all that stuff. In the Muslims farm, in the holy books, they tell us about you have to be extra careful with that. How do we answer such a question or concern?
Absolutely. Actually, it says in Pirkei Avot, right? It says me'od me'od, very, very.
Very, very.
Right? And that doesn't say anything about any other midah, any other trait. It doesn't say humility. Like, it's really top of the line. And it's true. It really is true. Sometimes people feel, I was speaking to a professional, a mental health professional about, children and this and that. And I said, what if, like, exactly your question, what if a child or somebody feels like you don't want to make them feel like they're too great?
Right. And then
right. So he says, he deals with a lot of people who have issues. He says, when you get to that level, I have not seen people at that level nowadays.
Oh, wow.
Nowadays, it's people just struggling to get up in the morning and do something productive and meaningful with their lives.
So they're lacking that self-esteem and positivity.
They're lacking it. And even people who are show-offs, right? Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, which we discuss every week in the Torah suites. It's just one of the low self-esteem is people who are show-offs. It's really they have low self-esteem. But they have to really puff themselves up because on the inside they're so empty.
Shallow.
Right? So it's not like the Gava is not even coming very often. Back in the day, people had that feeling because they felt they're too great, they're too amazing. Today, people feel they're so low. I really feel it's not so much of an issue nowadays. Now, if a person gets to a certain level and they start to feel like, I am the most amazing person. So you had that famous line that you have to walk around with two pieces of paper, one in each pocket.
Right. For me, the world was created.
Exactly.
And then
yes, but dust and ashes. And the other pockets for the world was created for me.
Right.
So once you get to that level, when you feel like you're so amazing and the world's created for me, and you start being selfish, then maybe it's time to take out that. But first, let's work on the getting ourselves to that level, because way too many people, unfortunately, are just not feeling that they matter, and what they do makes a difference, and the opportunity that we have in this short life to really, really make this world a better place. There's so many people who use their talents for evil. Let's learn from them. Let's learn from them how to use our talents for good.
Right.
And I think that's really what it's about at this point in the game.
Very inspiring, 100% true. And that's with regards to believing in ourselves, I guess. How do we inspire others to believe in themselves? How do we give it over?
So the power of words, that's where it's at.
The words that people told you.
Yes.
They said you could do it, you should do it, and that encouraged you. So
absolutely. And then there were people who were naysayers and said, "Oh, you have to know all of Shas, all the Talmud before you start writing anything." I said,
really?
So they really should eliminate all these influencers nowadays. Like, if you have a talent, the difference between Or Sameach and Isha Torah really believes that you need to, Aleph, teach Aleph.
Yeah.
Right, and Or Sameach felt like that was the real dispute over there, is that it's like a Kiddush cup. You fill yourself up. Keep filling yourself up, and once you get to the top, it's going to overflow, and automatically your good character and your inspiration is going to rub off on others. But nowadays, like the Isha Torah mindset, there's so many kids who are lost, and you know this firsthand that are in public schools. You know something, teach it to someone else, right? 100%. There's no waiting for that perfect moment until you're perfect Talmid Chacham, and now you're ready to go. No, you got something, go out there and inspire. So, believing in others and saying the right words is really what it's all about. You tell people you have a good soul, you have these abilities, you're funny, you're charismatic, you're special, and really mean it and find something good about them. I was telling you earlier, but it's really the rice experiment. You can look it up online. Basically, there was this science experiment that was being done. Take 2 jars of rice. And one jar, basically close it up, put them on the shelf for a week, and every day come up to each jar of rice and give them a different message. And that's what somebody actually did. Many people did this, so you can check it out. And in one of the things of rice, he'd say, you're amazing, you're beautiful, I love you, you're so delicious, etc., whatever it is. And you keep saying that every day for a couple of weeks. And the other one, you come over and you say, you're ugly, you're disgusting, I hate you.
Negative.
Right? Negative stuff, like ill, whatever it is. And what they found, and this is unbelievable, this is rice, right? This is rice. They found that the one that you talked badly to, they took down to, it started to rot after a couple of days. And rice does, last time I checked, rice doesn't have feelings, right? So how much more so a human being that has feelings and is a creature who is a soul inside, you give them that support and that wonderful compliments, you'll see how much people can start believing and accomplishing.
Beautiful, amazing, very inspiring. It reminds me of the fact that on Shabbat, on the table, we have the challah, we have the bread, and we cover the bread. What's the reason we cover the bread? Because we shouldn't embarrass it. It doesn't have feelings. What does that mean, not to embarrass it? Usually we will make hamotzi, the blessing for bread first, but because on Shabbat you have to be kiddush, you have to, mikad, you have to sanctify the day. So we do it on wine first. So in order not to embarrass the bread, we cover it. So how much more so if we are worried of the feelings of inanimate objects, in a sense, the bread, how much more is it with regards to Ben Adam Lechavaro, between man and his fellow man? So beautiful words, Rabbi. Mendel Berlin, very, very inspiring, amazing. I got to get the book a while back. And then I remember recently the rabbi came to speak in our shul at Charm Circle. Thanks to Yitzchak Yakubov. Shout out to him.
My student.
Yes. Yeah. And we have a minhag, a custom. You said so many beautiful messages. One final message for our audience.
Wow. Final message. There's so much to say. And if anybody's interested, you can actually sign up to the newsletter.
How do they sign up? Yeah, let's hear.
So it's torahsweets@gmail.com. torahsweets@gmail.com, or you could sign up by texting 718-675-9370. 718-675-9370. You could also get videos. Rabbi Mirov's going to be on hopefully shortly.
Sounds exciting.
Inspirational short videos for the Shabbat table, and it's very interactive. Like I said before, it's a buffet of Torah thought, and there's really a lot of good stuff that you could extract. Longer pieces, shorter pieces, deeper, lighter, whatever. We try to cover all ground.
Amazing.
So I guess I'll quote something that we wrote in the book. Rabbi Daniel Gladstein, he said he overheard Beryl Wine.
Dear friend at Chazaq, yeah.
So he overheard Beryl Wine give a story. He said when he was younger, he visited the Yad Vashem,
right.
the Holocaust Museum, and he tells a story based on this Parsha Shmot, which is we're going to read the Sefer Shmot. Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He's called Moshe. That's his name. Why does Hashem use that name for him?
Mishidu, Batya, the daughter of Paro, pulled him from the waters.
But was that his Jewish name, though? It wasn't his Jewish name, right? His Jewish name, he had the Vigdor and Tuvia and all these names, right?
Yeah, many names.
So, and even when the burning bush, the whole story with the burning bush, Hashem calls him Moshe. So why Moshe? Why is that his name? So we know that the whole story of Moshe is that he really could have been destroyed. He could have drowned in the Nile River, but he was saved. So when Beryl Wine, he says, as the Torah, he says when he was in that Yad Vashem, he walks into a room and there's this candle and names are being said. Hillel Cohen, H3, Vilna, Miriam Goldberg, H7, this place, right? And he hears a names until you can't take it anymore. You run out of the room. There's a single candle over there. And Beryl Wine, he says that he is of the age, and he starts thinking to himself that it could have been him. Wow. He could have been there, right? And he runs out, and it's 1.5 million children who were murdered brutally in the Holocaust, the Nazis in Machshemam, right? It's terrible, and he survived. He survived. So he comes out. He says, "What am I going to do with my life? Hashem didn't just keep me alive for nothing." So that's exactly the message that Hashem was telling Moshe. Hashem was telling him, Moshe, you could have been eaten by the alligators. You could have drowned in the Nile. I saved you.
Do something with your life.
Do something.
Don't just
build.
Wow.
Make a big difference in the world. You have that ability.
Powerful.
Hashem gave you those talents. Use them, maximize them, and you'll make this world a much better place to live in. Mitzvah Hashem.
Chazaq Mendel Berlin, things that come out of the heart enter the heart, and the positivity is 100% true. We feel it, and we are forever grateful and thankful to you for your great work that you do for Klal and the Jewish people. On behalf of Chazaq, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so
much. We want to
much.
thank everyone, all of our amazing viewers. Chazaq Torah Talks Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chazaq.org, Chazaq.org/live for special guests. Dedication opportunities are always encouraged and welcome. Suggestions for future guest rabbis are welcome as well. Info@Chazaq.org, info@Chazaq.org. Special thank you to all of our podcast players that host Chazaq Torah Talks. A special shout out to our friends at Torah Anytime. Special thank you to Daily Giving. $1 a day really goes a very, very far way. We see it ourselves at Chazaq, one of the benefactors of Daily Giving. So we encourage everyone to be a daily giver. Check it out. And a very special thank you to all of our supporters and sponsors and amazing staff and board members and the dedicated staff. It's just unbelievable what's going on over here at Chazaq. Baruch Hashem, so many neshamot lives are being touched and saved and inspired and changed. So we encourage everyone to be a part of the revolution. Be part of Chazaq, Chazaq.org/donate. Every dollar makes a very big difference. And Be'ezrat Hashem will be able to do much more good for the world. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be zochet to see the Geulah Shlema, the complete redemption. It should come by Merav Minus Spilling our days. Amen. Thank you. Mendel. Ishmak.